Am I the asshole? For proving to my boyfriend the nerds never cared about the popular kids in high school? My boyfriend and I, both 25, went to the same high school. My boyfriend was talking about our high school days. He thought high school me would have been thrilled to date the popular guy because I was a nerd. Mind you, we're 25 and it's 2024. I played along for a bit until I realized he wasn't joking. He literally thought that. I told him that I didn't know he existed. He was surprised and said that he was a popular kid. He played football and was in the popular crowd. He said that I must have been lying. I told him that the nerds never cared about the popular kids in high school because we were fiercely competing amongst ourselves for college admissions. For a backstory on our town, my boyfriend was born and raised there, but I only moved when I was 13 along with a bunch of other high-achieving kids. That's because an engineering company opened up a branch near that town and brought in a ton of engineers and their families. So it was a sleepy town with a big high school that suddenly got a ton of competitive kids. And I mean insanely competitive. Nobody had time to think about popular kids or really anything but college admissions. I was only getting 4 or 5 hours of sleep a night regularly. Sports like football or cheerleading, which required 5 days a week of training at school, were out of the question. And I saw the same people regularly because we were all in the same classes. So all of the drama was contained within that group of 5,100 or so students. It paid off for me. I got into a top college and had no student loans. It was literally cheaper than the state school. And despite my auto-generated username, I do have a good job that I enjoy. My BF said I'm lying. I don't like being called a liar. So I literally reached out to all of my high school nerd friends, and yet they didn't know the popular group and the ins and outs of the dynamics like my BF thought. A few people recognized some names, but like I said, we were really focused on competing with each other. He got quiet when I proved my case. He said I humiliated him and I proved my point and we should never mention high school again. I talked with his sister and she said that high school was a special experience for him and I ruined his memories. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. It begs the question why your BF feels the need to feel superior in your relationship. Nta. I also agree with you. I went to a huge high school with around 600 kids in each grade, so 2.4K total. I honestly didn't even know a lot of the kids in my grade and really just stuck to my group of about 50 kids. We were the emo kids. We could have cared less about any other groups of kids and couldn't tell if anyone was popular. Ooh. Not one of those peaked in HS kids who always want to talk about it. What does high achieving you see in him? His scenario is the basis for many cheesy movies based on high school. Not the asshole. I won't echo the peaked in high school thing cause, while it may have an echo of truth, I also think it's reductive. I think it's more important for your boyfriend to realize that the reason nerds bond together in places like high school, and why weirdos, nerds, freaks, geeks self-identify as such despite implied social stigma, is that it's a conscious act of defiance against the notion that their self-worth is solely defined by the dominant social hierarchy. Nta. What does your boyfriend do in college? It's sad that high school is his peak. Not the asshole, so it's okay for him to try and belittle and humiliate you. Yet when you prove your point, he's mad that you've apparently humiliated him. He needs to get a grip and grow up, lol, he's way past school age. Not the asshole. Why does it sound like he wants you to be grateful you're dating someone popular? Honestly, him talking like that just sounds so cringe-worthy it's not even funny. Not the asshole. No. I hope your boyfriend isn't one of those high school was the best years of my life types. Because that's going to end up sad. He got quiet when I proved my case. He said I humiliated him and I proved my point and we should never mention high school again. I talked with his sister and she said that high school was a special experience for him and I ruined his memories. Not the asshole. You just hit him with the reality. These popular kids that peaked at school think that that phase lasts for a lifetime. Guess what? No one really cares, it's temporary. The irony is that the popular group in high school were always more disliked than anyone else because of that kind of elitist attitude. So probably not actually very popular. Not the asshole though, you were just being honest. I don't think you said anything insulting. If you can ruin a man's memories by telling him that the people he looked down on didn't know he existed, you have learned some unpleasant things about how he views life and people. Do what you will with that information, but it's not a green flag by any means. Not the asshole. Not the asshole, but it's concerning how your boyfriend seems to have peaked in high school and cares so much about this. Seriously, if this ruined his high school memories, then perhaps you want to consider dating someone a bit more mature. Not the asshole. Your boyfriend was living in a bubble. He could have chosen to believe you, but called you out. He did a FAFO. He thought he was looked up to by everybody, and he learned that only losers get hung up on what a bunch of teenagers thought of themselves. Any hurt feelings he has here are of his own creation. The only thing here that could have possibly been harmed was his ego. Not the asshole. Talk about being offended over trifles. If he's going to call you a liar over something so insignificant, I'd be wary for the future. Not the asshole. But the bigger problem here, which you dance around, is that your boyfriend is working through an inferiority complex. When he talks about being popular, he's not just reminiscing, he's demanding value my presence because I am important and I don't feel that way. Being popular at 17 means nothing at 25, and that sucks. Likely you're more successful career-wise than him too, no? Just be sensitive and don't make this a fight. Toxically masculine dudes with an inferiority complex are on a steep water slide to being red-pilled. Not the asshole. I didn't humiliate you. I defended myself from a false accusation of lying. It's not my fault you refused to accept what I was saying was the truth, such that I had to prove myself. Maybe next time you'll respect me enough to believe me. At least, that's where my head went. Was thinking that a bunch of nerds idolized him the only thing that made HS a special experience for him? He didn't have good memories with friends, or winning the big game or some other such. If this one thing ruined all of his memories of HS, then he was in a very twisted mindset. Not the asshole. You humiliated me. He literally called you a nerd that should be honored to date such a person like him. Not the asshole. Now I think being popular in high school gave him an ego and everyone in his circle knew him. Clearly this wasn't the case, as you and others didn't. Those circles don't really mix anyway. Outside of him calling you a liar, which he should apologize for, it doesn't seem much of a big deal on either end. Your boyfriend's a loser with an inflated ego. My BF went to the same high school but didn't reconnect until our mid-20s, and we not in the same social circles. He would have been considered popular while I was pretty irrelevant. He's never talked about how I would have been thrilled to date him, or that because he was popular I would have known who he was. You popped your BF self-absorbed bubble, and now he's realizing people don't consider him the way he thought they did. You gave him a reality check. Not the asshole. Not only are you not the asshole, you're wasting your time with a man who clearly peaked in high school and thought he was doing you a big favor by dating you. As someone who lives with an engineer, I can tell that you have learned to use logic and to prove your point with it when someone challenges you. Your once the incredibly popular jock boyfriend is never going to be happy that he can't wow you without using his brain. I think you deserve better than this. Your high school days being your glory days is a red flag in itself. Does he not have any ambition to try to be more in life than the popular jock from high school? Definitely not the asshole. No one appreciates being called a liar.